Welcome to Geek Ball.
It does feel like that. Do you ever feel like that when football is really geeky, isn't it? It's like
Is it?
It isn't. So it's a very geeky thing that masquerades as a cool. Nah.
Look at the state of us.
Look, me and Adam have had
We
enough
all look the
fanny
same. We're
to
like
fill
four
the other hole.
brothers.
We are like 4 brothers.
We're like 4 brothers that like. It's like the Weasleys.
Little family.
Yeah.
The Weasley family.
I like how multicultural Ball Street is this occasion as well.
And look, we're all sitting the same. Fucking,
I
this
feel
is
like,
weird.
Yeah, there could be a film where we all live together and then a baby's left outside our flat and then we've got to deal with it and we're all leading separate lives.
And one character plays every single one of us.
yeah, it's like
To
Nutty Professor.
save on budget.
Yeah.
If you had to make love to one of us,
Oh God.
who was
It's not even that there's ever any just cause for him to bring sex into it now. It's just like, oh, there's a conversation, sex.
Yeah.
No, I'm just looking around. We've all got glasses on. We've all got a similar haircut. It's fucking ridiculous.
And
All got a bit of a beard.
A slight beard.
Yeah, it's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
And we've
You know
all
what
got
else?
the same colour hair.
It's a bit...
This is weird.
Yeah,
It
a
is.
bit boy band.
Well, you essentially
We don't have
chose
the same
us.
colour
You
hair.
chose us all
chose
in one
us.
way or another through influence on Stu or making your own decisions. You chose us.
Yeah.
It's almost like you want to.
I'm trying to create. I'm trying to create an army of clones.
Or yeah, I was gonna go down another sort of slightly dark.
Well, it's actually though, isn't it? It's like, yeah. But it's now the so geeks kind of run the world now. Maybe that's what's happening.
Still don't want to be one.
No, but we are. Look at the state of us.
Can I just deal with that for a second? Like, so I do look at football. And I do see it as quite a geeky thing. It's like Warhammer
Between wanks.
with, yeah, it's like
She was buzzing.
it's like Warhammer, but with a social acceptance. That's what football is.
What's
Stat,
Warhammer?
What, you know, the
It's
little
a
figures.
geeky game.
What is
Yeah,
Warhammer?
it's like Warhammer.
What is it?
It's like a game. Do you never
The
play it when
little
you was a kid?
figurines.
Little figurines you move around. You
Like
go-
Risk.
Like
Oh,
an
they have the
army.
odd shop in town, like it's like a Dungeons
Games
and
Workshop.
Dragons.
Games Workshop.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so that's my feeling.
Yeah.
Never
And I'm
played
kind of
that.
okay with that. And there's a question actually that deals with that about fighting at football and do we need it back?
Do we need fighting at football
Back, yeah. Should we bring it back?
It is back.
Well,
Is this later?
Yeah, we're going to come back into that. So today we've got Matt, obviously.
Hello.
We've got James Alcott returning once again. Thank you very much, James.
Hello.
And we've got.
What's his name?
Wow! It just fell out of my head.
Were you not waiting for me to say it?
No, I just didn't know what to say.
What his name?
That's ridiculous, Adam.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. It just fell out. Do you know that
I've
isn't
never
the
seen you go that red.
That's the first time. That's not the first time in my life that that's happened. Someone I've known for a long time, and my brain won't work for me. Adam, I'm so
I've been
sorry.
here 3 months.
I know, mate. I know. I'm sorry. That literally
It's
is
hurtful for He
yeah,
looks
it
upon you as a big brother, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
not
hurtful
true.
Do you
for
ever do
Adam.
that?
I'm embarrassed, yeah,
Do
sorry.
you ever do that at parties? I mean, you've got to introduce your miss, or there's someone you've forgotten their name. There's a way out of it. When you introduce the missus, you go, this is so for my missus Fam. I'll go, oh, so good to see you. This is Fam. And
Yeah.
let
It's
her
awkward,
introduce
and
it.
you're just sitting there thinking,
But she can do it. She can
Yeah,
take over.
yeah.
Just go, yeah. Oh, my name's. Of course, it is Jeff. Brilliant.
It's a
Good to see you
killer.
again.
and it makes such a difference when to people when you remember their
their
name.
Yeah.
So it is a real own goal
Especially
to actually not get it. We've
After
got to be
3 months. After 3 months of knowing, it's definitely an own
Day
goal.
every day.
Of saying it every day.
Yeah,
Adam,
that's out of order. We've got to be careful about speaking over each other a little bit as well, because there's 4 of us in the room.
very much so.
Jim looks. I just want to say though, Jim looks quite defensive. He looks almost like he's been hurt, like he's been through some kind of experience that didn't go well for him, even though he put a lot of hope on it. I don't know why. What's happened? Fam's all right. What about football?
Oh no, no. Valentine's Day was a bit of a shocker. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
You're talking about football, aren't you?
Football.
You may have won a football game between the two of us.
Yeah.
May have got the double.
We
over
should have
you.
got a draw.
Got double over.
The more I think about it, the more we should have got a draw in that game. We'll get 'em.
I mean, what this podcast is going to be about the championship to a certain degree, and not just all the football. Although we'll talk a little bit about the football because Huddersfield won yet again. Adam's team Brentford, did you see I said Adam, just to reaffirm?
Yeah.
Adam's team Brentford are kind of mid-table, but they have their own story to tell. And QPR obviously probably the least happy
Least
out
glamorous.
Least exciting.
out of the bunch here,
Smallest club in a way.
in a way.
Like
So
Tory.
we're gonna.
What was the crowd on Saturday, by the way? Just
It was
as
poor.
What
Yeah,
was
it? Was
it?
14.
14, right. What do you get? Like, what's your averaging nowadays?
We get about 10, 11.
Right, okay. That's decent, actually. The thing is, because
What
just
did you
because
get in your last game?
no,
then?
just because we're near the top of the league, now I'm turning into an arrogant fan, which obviously in my whole life has never happened.
This is what
it's
we
hard
strive.
not to be smug. Yeah, it's weird. That's what we strive for
to become
in football.
to become an elitist.
I'm not, and I fucking love Brentford.
What is
I
your
always
average
have.
attendance?
We did something where we start. What I like about the club at the moment is that we finally created this dream scenario where the club and the management, the fans and the players all seem to genuinely be connected and on a buzz. And obviously that comes with success, but Wagner's ultimately created that.
Yeah.
But what they've done with the ticketing and stuff, they've actually approached it in a bit of a different way. For many years, the price that I'd go from London to there, and it's costing you a fortune to get there. It's the full day, and then you're spending like 25 quid or 30 quid to get in. They've really kind of started to introduce lots of initiatives now where they try and get a full stadium rather than, they make it easy to go. So
Football seems to be moving in that
so
direction.
we're getting 20,000 regularly, which is mad.
Really? That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
it is, but
How
yeah.
big's the ground?
I think it's just about 25.
That's a good size.
It's too big for us. It always has been.
But if you get in the Prem, then you'd be.
yeah, we're not.
When you get in the Prem next, when you're playing in the Premier League next season.
But you know another thing that we've done, which is interesting about a team that's actually trying to get something sorted out, and it seems like they're trying to win. Our away end, what was typically our away end was like 4,000 behind the goal, and we'd often just give the away team that whole allocation. So teams like Newcastle, Leeds, a lot of your derby games or teams that are on a buzz would come and they'd fill that whole thing, but they'd make a fuckload of noise, and because we didn't really have anything behind the goal, that can have an impact. It's the most intimate plays, corners and stuff like that. And what they've started doing now, so when Leeds came, we break that in half now. Half of it's for home fans and half it's for away fans. So even though Leeds could, to be fair to Leeds, could have probably sold 15,000 tickets for that game, we only give them like 2,000. So it's actually sacrificing a bit of wedge in order to give your team more of a fortress, which is quite a new for us.
Leeds, just a quick thing on Leeds, they're famed for their away support, aren't they? They're supposed to have like the biggest kind of, one of the best followings, certainly outside the Premier League.
They definitely do, yeah.
Very impressive. They have a lot of fans down south. I think, but is that part of because they did so well in the 70s? I think some kids would go, even Southern kids would go, oh wow, Billy Bremner and all those guys are great, so I'm going to go and support them, like Man United.
For a few years they were the best side, weren't they? But also I think that a lot of people kind of fell in love with them a little bit. Even I almost fell in love with them a little bit when they had Harry Kewell,
David O'Leary,
Ian Hart.
It's the Champions League run.
Yeah, and obviously Viduka, Alan Smith. I quite enjoyed how he gave it.
I want to say Eric Backer.
Eric Backer played.
Yeah,
right,
they just threw out.
Norwegian.
Yeah. And actually when I was a kid, they were dangerous. Rod Wallace played there.
Yeah.
He?
So hang on. So
Thomas
you can
Brolin.
remember Eric Backer?
Yeah.
Poor Adam here. I can't remember his name.
But that was my mind playing tricks on me. I
that's the
obviously
pressure.
know Adam's name, and I on a level love him. So
Eric Backer.
Yeah, Eric Backer. Yeah. So yeah, Leeds. We talked last week about the result you had over in Huddersfield, and you know what was interesting, because we've been talking about Huddersfield nearly every week, pretty much. People are looking out for their results now because they kind of want it for you, which is nice.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would genuinely say I look out for your results a bit as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't even spell Huddersfield before coming here. So
that doesn't surprise me.
no, I mean I used to spell it with LES, so it's a Huddles.
Like Cuddle.
Yeah, like Huddersfield. But I want it to happen because Huddersfield weren't expected to come up, and there were some giants in that league, i.e. Newcastle, and I think Norwich, Aston Villa,
Massive.
and in a way, it's kind of good to see them struggling because it shows you how competitive the Championship is, and it's almost a bit of a cliche to say that now.
And Villa have spent some amount of coin as well. They really have.
Do you have the same satisfaction looking at what's happened to Villa? Forget the trouble that their fans are facing, but
I think despite all the money that's in there, and it's not just the Championship, you have it in the Premier League as well, with Leicester in both sides of it, and them doing as well as they are, and then now not doing well at all. It shows that kind of the spirit and the collective of the team, and the inspiration that comes from the manager on that team, are all actual massive factors on it. Yeah. And I think Brentford, their philosophy on it all is that we haven't got the money, so we need to find a smarter way to be successful and try a different way to be successful, and it shows that it is possible, which is wicked. You need it.
So we're going to come on to Brentford in a second, but you've won 6 on the bounce, Huddersfield. Matt, where are you emotionally? Where realistically, where's your expectation levels? Because you came into the office this morning and you could see you're holding it in. And I understand it.
I've never seen anyone so buzzing about their football team. So it's quite
weird.
Nice. Just hearing you.
It's because you're trying to hold it in. That's why it's so like you can feel it.
You know what happens in football the minute you start believing.
Yeah, well, fucking happened earlier in the season. So the season started off. I remember Callum. We did the first show of the season. We looked ahead, and he's like, "You're going down." Barnes are going to do all that. You're going down. And I'm like, mate, don't say that to me. And that's out of order. But I genuinely believed that we would be in contention for that.
Yeah.
There was green shoots under Wagner last year, but you didn't expect it to kick on like it had.
Did you end last season well? Because I always think that is quite a big factor.
No, we had a couple of decent little runs where there were signs, but it ultimately there were players in there that weren't his players. Right. Really, what he's done this summer is he's brought in Germans, really,
and great loan signings.
Yeah, right? Germans. I mean, and then Aaron Moy, Casey Palmer. So Moy is the guy from City that was is it Melbourne?
Yeah.
That their other team, they'd brought him over for like quite a lot of cash, and then he signed for us. So him, Casey Palmer.
Is he loan?
Yeah, he's on loan. Casey Palmer, which is another loan from Chelsea, was doing great. And then really we had run out of steam a little bit, and then we brought in Izzy Brown, another Chelsea kid who Mourinho, when he was at Chelsea, apparently used to say that he used to love going and watching play in their youth setup. And he's come in and he's got about 5 or 6 goals in 6 or 7 games or something. But no, Flav, this is all very unexpected. Everyone we've not done obviously many on video, but the audio podcasts, everyone kind of knows, and it's been a little bit unexpected. But this is definitely, as a fan, the season where it's been the most fun. This has been the most fun because we're playing amazing football, and at times you think it's kind of over, and a couple of times I have, and then all of a sudden we've just gone into that Brighton, the Leeds, and then we've gone and won again at QPR on Saturday, and then we won last night. We had 200 now with 10 minutes to go, and we win 3-2. It's like I know it's going to run out soon, but it's fucking quite cool while it's happening.
You don't know.
So you're saying you won't go up?
No, it's honestly, like, I don't know how we can, because Casey Palmer's injured. We had Hogg got injured last week. We are a couple of injuries away, and we're essentially playing Tuesday, Saturday. We got Man City on Saturday, and then we've got on Tuesday we've got Reading next week, which is and we need to talk about Reading. There's a guy that talks in our comments. We never talk about Reading, and we play them next week, and they're 1 point behind us. So for us to kind of continue this, we'd have to win, I think, 9 out of our next 10 games.
Yeah. And
how are we going to do that? We can't. We play Newcastle, we play Reading. There's just too many games. So
you're going to do it.
So we're definitely not going to do it.
You are the informed team. You're the team that no one wants to play at the moment. So based on rationale, like, you probably will.
So funny.
You're gonna do it.
Well, yeah.
Listen, if you're listening to this, then we also record it. We put it on our Long Ball Street channel, where you can obviously leave your comments below. You can watch us, and if that's something you're into. Actually, more people watch it on YouTube, probably, or about the same, depending. Actually.
Yeah. So no, so the SoundCloud and there's iTunes, which you don't know. So SoundCloud.
True enough.
SoundCloud and YouTube are now about the same. And then
substantial amounts of people watch, and which is a weird one. But if you subscribe to our iTunes or SoundCloud account, then you'll make sure that you get every single episode that we release. We're also going to be doing a review of the weekend, like a short version where we review the weekend's football. Me and James will be doing that on a Monday or Tuesday. We're looking at how we're going to fit that into our schedule, but that's definitely going to happen in one way or another.
So review, not preview?
A review of the weekend.
Okay.
Review
I was wondering, because you might just put the social club up as audio and then do the video. Okay, fine.
I don't know,
we'll figure it out.
We will.
Sorry.
So yeah, Reading. Like, there was a time at last night when it looked really good for Huddersfield, because Brentford were 2-1 up against Reading, and then they dished up a wallop, didn't they?
They did.
When he left the office to go to the game, before he went and got a load of tinnies from the shop, he said, "Don't worry, we've got this," and it looked like you did.
We normally beat Reading. We honestly normally beat them. I think I've been the last 4 times in a row, and this is the first one we've lost. and it looked like we're going to win again. So
It's a big game, that, is it, Brentford Reading, isn't it? There's history there.
It's not a derby. I wouldn't say it's a derby, but there is, like, they're quite close to us, so there is a bit more need.
You're near, like, the
atmosphere.
M4, aren't you?
Yeah.
When they went up, didn't they? Wasn't that there was a game? It might have been before your.
Before
I'm
my
trying to
time.
pass it before your time, but like, I know my one of my best mates, Dom. He hates Reading because they were trying to get out of League One, which I don't think they had done for ages, and they played Reading at home in the last game of the season, and whoever won it went up.
Yeah.
And Jamie Curtin, I think, scored a goal in the last minute, and
Jamie Curran, he used to score for fun, didn't
scored
he?
a lot of goals. And he's still playing somewhere.
Where is he?
He was at
Exeter,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if he's still there.
So
But yeah.
Brentford are quite a. I mean, they're one of the smaller teams. Probably have the least one of the smallest budgets in the Championship.
Yeah.
But they played a lot of their football in League Two, League One. You watched them play in League Two, didn't you, when you first started going? So, well, even for a long time. Fair enough.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the Championship?
This is our third season.
Right. But you mentioned it, James, about developing different ways in order to improve your football club, but Brentford are quite unique in the way that they did it.
Absolutely.
Go on, tell us about that.
So basically, our owner, who's a Brentford fan, I think he took over fully in 2009. He's an interesting guy himself. He runs a football stats company. He was aware of the fact that if we get to a high level, we don't have the budget to be able to compete with other clubs. So he's taken on this sort of stats analytics type of recruitment where we sign sort of, I don't really know how it works, but it's to do with strange algorithms, and we look through the Danish leagues, the Swedish leagues, the lower English leagues.
So you look. I think the idea. It's kind of like the Moneyball
Yeah.
philosophy, isn't it? So you look for anomalies in the transfer market where these players are either undervalued or not being utilised properly in other clubs, and then you take them and put them into a system that you know through your stats and data that they will be able to succeed in.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It is an interesting way. I don't think there's a club who've adopted that philosophy who have actually gone on to achieve great deal of success. But in terms of getting from that point of being at the bottom into a kind of middling tier side, it does work well.
And they didn't do it straight away, did they? He kind of came in, and I think there was a few aspects that he implemented it with, but he went and bought Midtjylland.
Yeah.
What country is that?
Denmark.
And put in a decent amount of money in, but that was almost the guinea pig for it, where they went, right, this is going to be completely kind of stats driven. They would kind of see which things worked in terms of, like, do you need a left back who's got pace, or do you need a left back who's just got a good left foot and who can play an amazing diagonal pass to stretch the play quickly? And so instead of getting a guy who gets up and down, they'll just buy a guy who does that. So it's buying the right guys for whatever the stats are saying to a point. And then he then rolled it out properly, I think maybe the year you went up, or even maybe the year after.
Yeah, it was the year you went, because then in the Championship you really looked to be, you were near the top, weren't you? For
we
a
got
lot of the
playoffs.
season.
We finished fifth.
You were like the town.
That was the best Brentford team I've ever seen. And like looking back at that squad now, I can't believe those players played for us.
It was an incredible squad, yeah. And the other thing, they bought a guy who'd been released by, who's the guy? He basically had this amazing way of striking the ball so it gives it top spin.
Right.
And so he'd been released by, I want to say, Accrington Stanley or someone like that. And they brought him in, and basically he was part of the squad, but they essentially said to him, what we actually want you to do is to teach all the kids how to shoot this way. So by shooting this way, like Andrea Perla, essentially, you use instead of sort of curve, you use top spin.
It's what Ronaldo and Bale
did.
Yeah,
exactly. So you shoot, and it's about 15 miles per hour quicker.
Yeah.
And so the idea was that he would come in and he would teach all the kids and all the first team squad.
Technique.
This is how you do it, because he could strike so well. And they also had a free kick coach, dead ball specialist guy, because so many goals come from set pieces. So it's all those little wins, isn't it? I find it so interesting. And they also, the last thing, they understand that luck is massive. Luck is such a huge part of football. And so all they're doing is, can we get all the little bits? And if the luck doesn't work out that year, next year when we get extra luck, then we'll be flying.
Oh, because of the law of averages, it'll even itself out. Like.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Well, also
You're getting the best out.
And how are they doing now? How are they doing now, eh? Football's played on grass, not on a bloody computer.
Bloody right.
Not that you'd think it to look at us lot.
It's a combination of those things. You need a good coach and get the best out of the players, but you also need this unity between a manager coming in and buying into this ideology that's been laid out by the chairman. And that's something they had on the Warburton, didn't they?
So Warburton was really supposed to not be on board with it at all.
Really?
And that was part of pretty much what created the fallout. And then he left. The fallout happened in February. Everyone knew he was leaving from February onwards, but he stayed as manager to the end of the season. And a lot of people think that might have been what derailed, because at the time we were second, we won 8 on the bounce. A lot of people think that might have been what sort of derailed our title challenge.
The idea with the fallout was because Warburton likes a really small squad, and Benham was saying, you need players. We need to buy some players because we're going to get some injury. Law of averages, we're going to get some injuries, so you need a bit deeper squad. And he's like, I don't want a deeper squad because I want a competitive squad. And that's weirdly what they fell out over.
I think it was also to do with Warburton wanted to recruit players based on what his scouts were saying. He's got a big scouting network.
Yeah.
And Benham was more interested in obviously his stats. And when you have a fundamental disagreement like that about how to recruit, it's a matter of time before
it falls apart.
Yeah.
He's a fan of low market as well.
So the Billy, what's he called? Billy Bean is the character that was the in Moneyball, which is obviously a film that's got Brad Pitt in, which is decent. Other films are available. But it's an amazing book, isn't it? Really. But I guess that so their approach, which you spoke about, is what they applied, and they essentially went from being a team that shouldn't be winning and had no right to, because they just didn't have the salary cap that the likes of the Yankees or whatever had, and then they outperformed the league and went on another period of success. But I guess that guy, as well as being a visionary in terms of thinking, he could have been a great leader and someone that kind of brought the best out of people, because ultimately, when a team, and it's like a team in business, let alone a team in sport. But when a team goes on to do great things, it's ultimately not just because they've got the best players, is it? It's because they've all got this fucking commitment, this unwritten contract with each other, that they're willing to fucking back each other, that they won't let each other down, that they'll make that run, that they'll cover for their teammate, that if they see someone commit an error, they'll try and atone for it.
Faith, isn't it?
It's that collective faith that really is that chemistry that exists between a bunch of people. Why you've gone and have success.
Yeah.
So maybe Brentford had got all that stuff, but maybe they didn't have the right guy in charge. Who knows?
Yeah. Are you happy with this season so far? All good?
Yeah, I can't complain too much. We've consolidated as a championship side, but it's always a bit boring when you just meander into mid-table finish, isn't it?
How have the fans' expectations changed?
They have changed a bit. I'd say we're a pretty ambitious club, right from the board down to the fans. Like, even now, some people want the manager out. When you think about the job that he's doing, it's not that bad. But they just always want more at Brentford, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing.
I think that's football fans generally. It's never enough. It's just always want more. Apart from Mr. Alcott, who's just happy. He's happy with everything. He loves the fact that, I put down there, QPR continue to flounder under returning hero Holloway.
Right.
He don't care as long as Holloway's there.
Yeah, he's just happy, isn't he?
You've got to have patience. It's going to be fine.
No, he's fucking... Sorry, excuse me, no need to swear. He's right. He's absolutely spot on, because that's the one trait that most fans are passionate. A lot of them are knowledgeable. A lot of them understand football in a way that they don't need to, but because they love the game so much. But the one thing that most football fans are missing is just a bit of patience and calmness. So it's quite refreshing. I'm taking the mick, but it is quite refreshing.
But it's a weird one, isn't it? Because you talk about the water cooler, as in the conversations that you'd have around the water cooler. The bits in work where you meet up and you chat about the footy or whatever. As championship teams, right, you don't have the pressure that the likes of Flav would have. You don't have that kind of... Because I reckon that a lot of that lack of patience, it's ultimately brought about by the way it's magnified. So you lose a game, or you fucking playing Arsenal, or you're playing Liverpool, and you're just thinking, that dickhead in accounts, if he's gonna give it loads to me. So it kind of creates that, which is what
Paul Machin.
Yeah, exactly. So
Monday meeting,
First fucking thing in Monday meeting.
Oh.
Just one thing before we start. Like that. Fuck off. So, but you're right. You're 100% on. The spotlight is on everything. You can't escape it. You're right. That is a stressful position to be in. Go on.
No, that's a really, really good point. That I generally don't have to worry about too much in terms of my patience with Holloway. I think I generally, with managers, I kind of the team that they put out, the people that they buy, I'm always just thinking, does it make sense what they're trying to do? Because there's so many. We're just talking about. There's so many variables in football.
Yeah.
That can you understand what he's trying to get across? The results have not been good for Holloway. You're right. We are floundering, but are people more excited to go? Yes. Do I have to worry about him? One, being arrogant. No. Two, caring. Three, going off to a better job. I don't think he'd ever get offered a better job, to be honest.
Not anymore.
No, but I don't think he would. Because he just absolutely loves it. But then, in terms of the actual squad and how we're going to get better and improve, is he buying players who I can see us doing better with? Absolutely. I think we've had a great January.
There was what was the kid, the number 2? He looked decent when he came on Saturday.
So he's the one. Freeman. I want to say Luke Freeman. Is it Luke Freeman? I feel like that's someone I know from school. Anyway,
Luke Freeman's another footballer.
Is it? His name's Freeman. And that's one thing actually I don't like about him. Why is he wearing number 2? He's like an attacking midfielder.
Yeah, that always freaks me out. The only person that used to go forward a little bit and wear the number 2 that I didn't mind was Dan Petrescu. But even so, he played as a wing back, didn't he, or as a right back?
He was a wing back.
Hang on, who's the other guy? What's the international player, German, Lam?
Yeah.
He used to wear that. But
he started as a right back.
backs, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you're number 2,
Lam
you
played
must
everywhere.
be a right back.
Lam was number
was
2
a
in
right back.
midfield as well.
Right.
Lam played everywhere.
Yeah.
Lam was a right back, but he
right back.
moved forward, didn't he? And ended up playing holding midfield and stuff like that.
Yeah, none of it means anything anymore. Because you'll get a player come in.
But number 2.
One of the conditions he'll say, "I always want number 2." It's like
it's weird,
just
isn't it?
Just people.
But yeah, the guys he's brought in. We were buying these guys from Anderlecht and all over the place. We couldn't say their names. We couldn't pronounce their names. So they were that random. And now we're getting guys who've played in the Championship,
English,
done okay,
good English,
bloody
solid
right,
players.
exactly.
Speaking of players who name it right, one thing that bugged me at the town match on Saturday, it was like, and we've always got this fucking habit, is that there's a tune that's an anthem that everyone gets on a buzz about, but they apply it to all the same players. So we've got Naki Wells, and then a minute later it's Izzy Brown, and I'm like, that's annoying me a bit. And then it was Aaron. I'm like, fucking, this has got to stop, everyone. Give me a fucking different song. You know what I mean? Crying out loud.
That's funny.
What the fuck?
Is there anything else that bugs you about going to football? Any other little bits? Because one of the things that you have is
let me think.
Really. Go on.
Let's hear one, because you never complain.
You're kidding? Oh yeah.
But I can imagine him getting wound up by people complaining around the back. You, Jim, where you just start going.
But there's a guy. I think I might have said it before. I've definitely said it on our podcast. There's these 2 guys, a father and a son, who could not be more polar opposite to me and my dad. We get it. Okay, I understand why he played that pass. He was trying. It was the right idea. Things like that. We'll make sure we're there before kick-off. We will not leave until the final whistle's gone. We will clap them off if they've tried it. We will never boo. And we've got these guys here who arrive late.
Good football men, the old cops.
But they arrive late. They leave early to get a beer, and you've got to get up each time. And they arrive late for the second half, and the amount of times they've left because we're losing and mutter, "I've had enough," on the way out. Fuck off. Fuck off.
So if you're watching, guys, QPR fans, if we could find these people and bring them in on the podcast.
Find them, I'll point them out to you. Tell me I love the show. They are everything I hate. And then more.
What else? Let's get some of this stuff out. This is good. Fucking well done. Thanks for sharing, James.
A little bit better. My dad, he did it the other week. Apparently, my dad wasn't there. I'm sorry, I wasn't there.
Get it off your chest.
And my dad, thanks. And he went, "I've had enough of this," and he went, "Good." And there was a moment. Because my dad is not like that. He wouldn't kind of call him out. But apparently it was awkward for a second. Which you kind of want to call these guys out completely, but
then
they've got to walk past you again 4 times the next home game. So
yeah, and then you build. That's my. Either that having season tickets as well, like we're being stuck next to, because there's no problem being irritated by fans who support your own club. Just because you're Tottenham, don't mean you're not a dickhead.
Oh yeah,
100%,
absolutely.
And there's plenty of dickheads inside.
I tell you what. Sorry, have you got one?
Yeah, I would say people. It's quite a big problem at Brentford. I feel people who just aren't willing to contribute to the atmosphere whatsoever.
Yeah.
Pisses me off a lot.
Yeah, well, just silence.
They haven't come there. Yeah, they just come there to watch a game and do nothing else. Like when I go to football, it's if it was just about watching a game, I probably wouldn't go. The game quite often is shit.
Yeah,
it's more about trying to make an atmosphere, trying to have fun,
be a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy goes when the goalie's got it. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like, shut up, mate. It's not going to make any difference. Donut.
I don't like people that can't accept critical thinking. Like, there's people that see that are almost so blindly loyal that they couldn't. They think so like on forums, for example, down at the Mac is Huddersfield forum that I've obviously been on for years, right? And if people say something like, so yeah, obviously we're winning and it's great, but this striker we brought in from so and so, I'm not sure he's that good, and which I think you're fine to say that as long as you're saying it. You're not going, he's just a shite bastard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I don't mind
cool.
critical things.
Yeah.
It's like, what's he bringing to the side? Should we have got so and so in? What kind of things do we need? That I don't mind that conversation.
Yeah,
but there's some people that just can't accept any critical thing about the team, where they're then just jump down their throat and almost like, hey, you've been negative or something like that. But that bugs me.
Yeah, I can understand that, especially if there's some sort of logical thought to the criticism. I think what it comes from is that, especially on Twitter for football, around a match day is one of the most poisonous places. I just will not go on during a match day for Tottenham. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Sorry, no, I was just going to did it. I was thinking as well, right? Sorry, just because these fucking people that spend all their game just talking like to the away fans.
Oh, mate, yeah.
They're like the whole time. Like, just fucking.
I was thinking that,
It's just like, what are you fucking doing, mate? Do you know what I mean?
You were saying with the away end, they put it in half and half.
You do that.
I like a little obligatory wanker
Yeah, but it's just like those. It's just like, right, yeah, but it's like it's just like when it's all the fucking time. It's just like, come on, yeah.
Do you know what I'm seeing here? I've seen quite a clear line.
The divide.
Yeah.
God, you didn't even know his fucking name a minute ago.
You're the intellectuals. You sit there and you watch the game and you get behind the players. Me and him were just looking at the away fans going,
Yeah, boy.
I don't mind leaving a bit early for a beer. I've got to be honest.
I do it every week.
Half time, crap you at
half
Brentford,
time,
to be
yeah.
fair.
You got to.
Half time, I kick. Oh, nah, I don't like it. Yeah, you're both scum. There is good stuff about like Championship and low league football as well. Like, you've got more chance of starting a fucking hilarious new song than you will at other places.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because there's only like Brentford's great for that. Because like they're got some wicked ones because they're all there and tight together. There's not too many people. Do you know what I mean?
You say that, but we've been really struggling to get Beezy Bumble, Beezy Bumble.
Yeah, that's a crusade of ours at Wall Street to get Brentford.
When we hear that fucking ringing out through our tellies,
or just I'll be happy with just. Bzzz.
Yeah,
I like Busy Bumblebees. Yeah. I'll give it a go.
or any Brentford fans who, like, if Adam's maybe a little shy to do it, you guys do it because that would be amazing. Imagine
if I hear it, I'll join in.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? There's some other bloke just doing it.
I mean, it would be amazing for us looking in. I'm not sure it would be amazing for Brentford fans' reputations. You got something else?
No, I was just going to say, like, unless you've got something.
No, I was just going to move on. Go on,
right. Well, I was going to move on as well, actually, but just to talk about Reading, because this guy every time is like, you talk about Championship, and I was dying for you to talk about Reading.
Well, they smashed up Brentford.
What was that tweet? The Reading tweet.
What tweet?
It was the most ever Reading.
Oh, the most Reading fan tweet I've ever seen.
Go on.
Just some.
So we're going to mention Reading. We're going to cane this guy.
But this is good.
Just the guy wrote into Reading on the club, their Twitter, the day before Valentine's Day, just saying, why did you make the game on Valentine's Day? Because now me and my friends can't attend because we're spending the day with our girlfriends. It went a bit viral.
That's lovely.
I mean, look,
Rinsed.
I understand his
Great.
sentiment. It's just something you never express on a public forum ever.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Reading have a problem where they're, you know, it's kind of an affluent area. I mean, I don't know Reading well, but you know, it's like me. Like, I'm fucking hard as nails, but I'm
Yeah.
from Surrey, so you guys don't think I am.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's annoying being put in that box.
It's so strange because having met your dad has quite a sort of working class Cockney accent. Might not be Cockney, but it's certainly London based.
Well, yeah, he grew up in Wembley.
100 exactly, and he just sounds like it sounds like he's been a plumber. I know, you know, he's a little bit more, you know, he had more about him.
Nothing wrong with plumbers.
Well, no, my whole family of plumbers. There's a lot wrong with them,
Yeah.
right? But but you're from Surrey, and that's fine.
I think I drift.
You do, especially when you're playing football.
Yeah, I go Cockney.
Yeah, love it. Cockney all court.
comes out.
Yeah, it does. Anyway,
So Reading.
Yeah, sorry.
So they're right. So how are they good? Because I was just looking through their squad a bit as well. So I didn't. So obviously Jaap Stam is their gaffer.
yeah.
I didn't think that he'd be. I don't know why. Like obviously I've never hung out with Jaap Stam. So I can't. I don't. And even if we had, we wouldn't have necessarily kind of spoken about what he's going to do if he ever becomes a manager.
He's done it right with them.
I'm surprised that he's a fucking manager. I'm surprised that he's the manager of Reading, and I'm surprised that he seems to be doing great at it.
Well, you say great. I would say currently he's not as good as Brian McDermott, which
okay.
Brian McDermott as a manager, you know, you think Jaap Stam, you know, Champions League winner, is not as good a manager as Brian McDermott. Doesn't quite scan.
Hasn't achieved as much currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Currently, he's not as good as Brian McDermott.
Where is Brian McDermott? Is he? Because he went to Leeds and I
just
loved
some
it that it went wrong.
He's waiting for Jaap Stam to leave Reading, isn't he? He just that's the
Come
only club he
back.
ever wants to see.
Yeah.
He's their Ollie.
He's Arsenal. He was Arsenal. His
Yeah.
entire career to come back.
So, but they've got that Tyler Blackett who obviously was at United and loved an era.
I know you can't judge them on one game, but last night it felt confusing that Reading are where they are.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't see much about them at all.
They've got
Got
some
kind
players,
of back
man.
that up, really.
From
Like,
what
they
you've
have to
seen.
be better than that because they're third or fourth and they've been on a pretty good run. But
The fourth, 1 point behind us.
But you can have one bad game.
yeah, you can. But it just, I don't know. Even just looking at their team, they don't look that great.
In that company, like I've seen us play Newcastle, Brighton, Reading, Huddersfield, at Leeds first game of the season, so obviously a lot of things have changed. But the movement of Huddersfield, their front three and Aramoy was like you're watching it, and you're going. Second half we dominated, should have got a draw. Newcastle beat us 6-0, absolutely shat on us.
yeah,
Brighton looked really, really strong, but Reading I didn't get that same feeling. Maybe it was just an off day. I don't know. But
When did you play them?
played them about a month and a half ago,
Right.
something like that. They had a lot of possession.
Was
but
Stephen
didn't do
Quinn
too
playing
much.
for them? He's a player that I used to love at Sheffield. Like he's a player that he then went to Hull, didn't he?
Mm.
And I didn't actually even realise he was at Reading. Which
He's
shows
a good
that
championship player. McCleary's a
quality
weird
player.
one. McCleary's scored a lot of good goals over the years, but never kind of made the step up
Kicked
to
on.
Premier League. Oh yeah, whoever the Reading fan is, I'd love to know what they think about him because he's been there quite a long time. Quinn's another one. He's always championship, isn't he? Not really
Yeah,
never
but
led
good
the
footballer. I like him. I thought that when they got Lewis Graben that was a fucking amazing signing.
Mm.
But I'm not sure he scored yet. But did they get Jordan Much at the same time?
Yeah, he was playing last night.
He
Yeah.
played for us.
Was he like? Do you
He
rate
just
him?
kept diving, but we should have kept hold of him probably. But he went back to Palace. But they've got a lot of
It's good
that's
loans
the
that
championship
they've
loans.
got.
A lot of names you know, who haven't kind of.
But you don't know what club they're at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Journeyman.
Yeah.
Is that enough for him?
Well, yeah, we play them next week.
Well.
and next Tuesday. So that's
Yeah.
that's a massive game.
Okay.
Massive game. But yeah, good luck, mate, and cheers because he's always commenting and he seems pretty nice.
Absolutely.
So good guy.
Uh,
What next, Flav?
well, fighting at football, should we bring it back? Is it something that's missing? I mean, I'm not talking about hooliganism. I'm just like a little fist because you guys, when you was walking to the game, weren't you? You saw a to-do.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah. It was a bit odd, wasn't it?
It was very weird.
Yeah.
Because
Explain the scene.
Well, okay, so we met up. It's quite late.
Yeah.
We're going through the side streets. Jim obviously knows
just
them
right.
like back of his hand.
Bloody right. What's that?
So we're going through, and you can kind of obviously it's getting to that bit where it's just before kickoff. So there's a lot of 15
fast-paced walking
from different directions, you know, like, and everyone's kind of converging, and then you're aware, you know, you hear the odd, you know, people singing songs, and as you get nearer, you hear more of that stuff, and then there was kind of, you could hear some shouting and some stuff, and then as we got there, I couldn't really tell which supporters were which at that moment in time, but there was this huge guy, huge kind of mixed race. Kind of black guy that was a big unit.
6'3", do you think?
Bigger, and he was a mass. It was like
muscular or fat.
Sort of
it's difficult to tell, but
kind of fat.
If he,
thick.
He looks like he likes a beer. Let's put it that way.
Right, I got you. I know exactly the shape.
And there was some kind of as we were walking up, it kind of, and then there was some chelping, and we didn't know, but obviously there'd kind of some groups of people walk past, and then they'd come back, and I kind of saw him leaning over him, giving it that kind of thing.
So there was him and his mate who was like older, about 45, no, more than that, like 55, and then there was these three like younger guys, and the
Stone Island though.
Stone Island, and
so they're saying.
And the big lad, he went with like a really long jab whilst kind of being half held back, and definitely caught the lad.
Yeah.
And the lad was he's about my height. He's little, wasn't he? And he just, I thought, right, that'll be the end of it. And from nowhere, he went for him back, didn't he? I was amazed by that. I thought,
he cracked him.
Some bollocks there.
Yeah. And then the big guy, it was a David and Goliath type scenario. It really was, because this guy's a big guy, and this guy was, you know, James's size, so he's just a normal sized guy.
Right,
very kind. And
look
he
at
shit it. He shit it. The big guy shit it.
He did a little bit.
Look at the clarity of that description of what happened and how interested we were in that. Fighting needs to come back to football. I don't want to be involved in the fighting. Right?
No,
absolutely not.
Doesn't suit any of us. We've got glasses. You can't hit us. You know what I mean?
But from a distance looking in at two people that do want to do the fighting.
Yeah, I'd love to watch it.
Yeah, love to watch the fighting, but not be involved in the fighting. So what I'm getting at really is it important to you that your clubs are considered hard or have a bit of that element in it? Because Brentford and QPR, and actually no, QPR.
You're much nastier than us.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
really?
and you quite like it.
Brentford used to be. Brentford used to be have a real. In fact, I know fairly well. I spoke to him for a while. One of the former Brentford casuals.
One of the former boys.
They had a tiny little firm. Brentford.
I could
probably, he's cool.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if he'd want to put his face on.
No, we don't have to.
We could black him out and make it.
Blur it
That
out.
would be great.
I can sort of see that. There's quite a lot of old geezers at Brentford who you could see maybe back in the day were a bit naughty, but
the younger lads.
No, because you do get a few sort of pretenders. Do you know what I mean? Like the Stone Island crew, but they're not really up to much.
But you because as well, like what you always used to get right is the smaller clubs would love a tear up with the bigger clubs or with anyone really.
It's fucking Millwall.
but you know, the trains, there'd be lots of places where the trains are crossing and where you'd get fans passing, where places where you'd have these fights in you know, where people are kicking off. But what you'd also get is a lot of the smaller clubs would be the ones that would go and support England. So that's why whenever you're seeing it, it's Burnley, it's Huddersfield,
Carlisle.
it's Brentford, because they don't have that. You know, it's
away trip, isn't it?
Yeah,
that European trip, isn't it?
So following England away was an opportunity to talk about your club, but also to go and kind of get involved. So I think there was a lot of smaller clubs that would go and do a lot of that England stuff. But a lot of tidy firms.
But is it important to you? It is.
It is important.
Why is it?
As a kid,
because I feel the same.
Within reason.
HYC, Huddersfield Youth Casual, whatever was one of our thing. Leeds had Naughty 40.
But would you want to be
crew?
Would you want to be Millwall?
I would love Brentford to have the reputation of Millwall fans.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I love this. Honestly,
I don't know. I just would.
Nah.
I love people shitting themselves to come to Brentford.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the intimidation.
One of the scariest things I've ever heard, and I went there with Spurs mates, first game of the pre-season friendly, and my mate was like, do you want to come to the footy today? And I was like, yeah, alright. We'd been out and I was tired and I was a bit weak, but I just went along today. I needed better to do that day. It's like, who are we playing? Millwall. Alright, cool. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, then we fucking get there, and he's like, on the way there, he's like, I was like, oh fuck, he's like, no, it's at Millwall. I was like, fuck. all right? And then we get there, we're fucking the Millwall end, right? And as we get there, there's about a crew of about 60 fucking heavy, hard men. You know, men.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a fucking grown-ass man, but I'm not fucking
I know.
one of these motherfuckers.
No.
And I'm in the fucking end, and all you can hear is, and I'm there, and I'm the one that's sitting next to the fucking Millwall. So I'm like sitting there fucking, I feel like I'm on the front line, because I'm got to chat to the guy and stand up whenever they're standing up. And it's just ringing out, you'll never make the station. You'll never make the station. And I'm there going, I'm never going to fucking make the station. And I'm not even, it's nothing to do with me. I'm from fucking Yorkshire. Terrified. I've got another as well, but go on, you go.
I think there is something Neanderthal and instinctual about football and the people that go to football, and it is part of it is about having a good football team. But because most of us don't have a good football team, you have to have the reputation as well. And one of the things that winds me up about Arsenal is that they're difficult to hate now because they're so soft. And this doesn't include a couple of people I know who were involved in the Arsenal firm way back who aren't so much anymore, and there's definitely
Can I make that clear?
Yeah, look, I'm not targeting Arsenal firm because they do exist, and in no way, I don't want to get beaten up or anything like that. But they're not like West Ham, who as an entity, as a group of fans, they have a buzz about them. When it comes to White Hart Lane, Spurs and West Ham, the atmosphere is thick in the air.
Yeah.
And against Leeds, when they come down, it was thick in the air.
Yeah.
And there was something special about that.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It is there for Arsenal, but it's mainly from our side, hating them so much. They don't really give it much.
Spurs are a hard team, aren't they?
There is a reputation.
But it's like that. When you know about that stuff, because I remember going to the football. I'm obviously older than you guys. Back in the day, when teams you didn't have cameras and CCTV weren't a thing. You didn't have speed cameras and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So it used to go off, and it used to go off in the stadiums as well. And people would take each other's ends. That was the thing, you know. I mean, I think we've all got probably songs about that. But I remember being a kid and we were playing Man City, and all of a sudden, they were so full their end that they started to the pens in the corners, they'd keep them closed off so full that they then released them in, so then they'd fill up this corner pen because of the overspill, and then all of a sudden they're right next to fucking literally there's just this shitty little blue fence, and then they're just fucking climbing over it. They're just pouring through our stand, and like I was about, I don't know, maybe fucking 9 or 10, and I just remember my uncle, who was a big lad, just fucking like don't worry, I've got you kind of thing, and I'm like, yeah, I know you've got me, but who's got you? Like, they're fucking pouring
Who is
through.
that against?
Man City.
So in 1993, you've got a story where Spurs played Man City in the FA Cup quarter-final. We were beating them 4-2.
Right.
And their hooligans and some of their crowd just ran on the pitch and just ran towards the Spurs end. We had about 4,000 in the Spurs end. I was with my dad, and I'm like, Dad, they're not going to get us, are they? They can't get us.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't worry. But I could see he was he was a little bit thinking, not worried about what would happen inside the ground, but outside. Police horses came in, the game was... There's footage of it on YouTube, I'll show it to you.
There's tons of that. It used to happen all the time.
That was 93, and that was supposed to be like after it kind of packed in a little bit. But
I think there's a sweet spot, isn't there? Like West Ham's quite a good one. They are hard, you know they're hard. Sorry, just getting back to the question itself, do you like it or not? Millwall's a bit too far for me.
Yeah,
because you kind of
it was like the 80-20 we were doing before.
If people go, who do you support, and you went Millwall, they go, I don't want it that bad. Do you know?
Mate, do you want to some money or?
Exactly.
Scared.
Adam, you nailed it when you said about that. You want teams to be intimidated. Yeah. You want fans to be fearful, and currently Arsenal fans are fearful when they come to White Hart Lane because you get pincered funneled into the Park Lane end. And there's no room to move anywhere, and there's lots of fans and a lot of vitriolic stuff being thrown around. I like that, even though in the past people have got hurt, and I don't want anyone to get hurt. Obviously, but there's something about that hatred that it gets me hard.
Have you been in away ends much? Have you done them much of that?
Yeah, I've probably done about 20 or 30 in my life.
20, 30?
Between 20 or 30. Yeah.
So when you've gone away, so what I mean is, have you ever gone away and what I meant to say, have you gone away and ended up to sit in the home end?
Oh yeah, I've done it at Villa.
Right. I fucking did it at Villa.
Yeah.
With a fucking Liverpool again, right? Fucking I'm not even involved. I went there with a mate, Liverpool fan, didn't tell me he got 2 tickets for the fucking Villa end. And I'm like, right, I've been to footy a lot, I've been to Bradford, places like that, I've gone in the fucking home end. people don't like it.
Yeah.
So can we just agree that because my mate's mouthy, obviously, can we agree that we'll be cool? Now, Michael Owen and Stan Collymore were playing for Liverpool, I think, at this time.
Yeah.
First minute.
Yeah.
First fucking minute. This must be in 98, 99 or that kind of time. First minute. Penalty!
No.
Fuck it, I'm just like, are you fucking serious? First minute? Do you know what I mean? Gives the penalty, fucking pies come down on top of our heads. I'm just like, you fucking
Dick.
idiot.
So listen.
8 to 9 minutes of that we had to sit through, and
I've got-
it's fucking people just.
I've got one that will top that, right? So I didn't actually do it, but my brother works. He works in South basically, and he got offered, couldn't get tickets. Spurs versus Arsenal, last game at Highbury, and couldn't get tickets in Spurs, and impossible. And somehow my brother managed to get 4 corporate tickets in an Arsenal box, and he said to my dad, my brother, and his workmate, do you want to go? If you go, this is my work. You cannot, like, besides the point you're in their end, you cannot lose your shit. You could just be quiet.
You're asking them to respect that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Trust.
Yeah. I mean, on a work level, yeah, but also you don't want to get your head kicked in,
No.
yeah. So, I mean, you know, that's the thing. My dad and my brothers are there, and they're like, "Course, we're gonna do that, course." And then Robbie Keane scored, and we went 1-0 up. My brother went mental. My dad lost his shit. The other went, and the work colleague, he lost his shit as well. They were going crazy in this box surrounded by Arsenal fans. Did Arsenal fans do shit? Of course they didn't. But but you know, you're asking for a drubbing. They deserve the slap for that, definitely. You got anything to add? Because we've got to close up. We've been running quite a long time.
Yeah, we go for it.
All right, we have got 2 other questions, but we're not going to do them this week.
What?
Do you want to? Let's do one then.
All right.
It's getting
Who
quite
is
late.
it? It's just it's part of what we do, innit? We like
Right,
to talk. We like our people to talk to.
All right,
us.
well, I'll read them both out, and you can choose which one we do. All right. So Jamie the Creative says, should recreational performance-enhancing drugs be permitted in sport, and then it's fair for everybody to do it? I quite like that question. And Chimney K, he says, how badly do you think glory hunters and day trippers affect the atmosphere at the stadium, and how can it be prevented? I think I need more. We all should think about what we say for that
Number
second
2.
question. So let's do the drugs one.
So hang on, what did he ask? He said recreational performance enhancing drugs.
Recreational or slash performing enhancing drugs.
right.
He should have used the word or.
Yeah. That's an interesting.
I like that.
Recreational drugs are illegal, aren't they?
So are performance enhancing drugs.
Not all of them.
Well,
No,
okay.
Steroids aren't illegal.
Hey, so they have
They are in
this-
sport though.
Yeah, but
You can't take
but by law they're not.
No,
You won't go to prison.
that's true.
In America, in certain states in America, for example, pot is legal. And you know the Diaz brothers, so Nate, who had the fights with Conor McGregor, his brother Nick has served suspensions for quite long periods of time for smoking weed in a sport where actually, what the fuck does that help you? I think the last thing I'd want to do is have a fight if I was stoned.
You just
You know what I'm saying? You can't do it unless it's fucking you're on the UFC game.
Yeah,
You
even
know,
then.
yeah,
So-
even so, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so it's really weird
Yeah.
because, but this is something in life whereby you're getting at times people getting convicted for sex crimes and doing a couple of years in prison, and then people that have done drugs crimes getting in prison for fucking 20 or 30 years or life imprisonment. So there's a whole interesting debate about recreational drugs and the war on drugs and stuff like that, which is dead interesting, by the way.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan and I've heard that sort of stuff. It is fascinating. But I'm just saying, I've dabbled in things in the past, and I've never taken a single drug that would help me be better at any sport. All of it would make you much easier to be beaten up, much less able to run very far.
But cocaine could give you that hit.
I guess.
So there used to be a thing where WWE or F, whatever you call it, wrestlers, Hulk Hogan, people like that would do cocaine in order to train, because it kind of like made them feel like 10 men in a wetsuit, which is something we start to say every week. And
Someone asked, what does
yeah,
that mean?
I know, I'm not going to tell
What
him.
does that mean?
Well, what does it mean? You can't understand. In fact, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
But that makes them feel like 10 men in a wetsuit, so they like makes them train more intense and stuff like that. But about performance enhancing drugs, that's a really interesting one, because if you're looking at it in terms of fight sports, if you were to go, right, cool, everyone can have performance enhancing drugs, which will up their testosterone levels, it'll up their abilities of how much they're able to train, how quickly they're able to recover, and ultimately how strong and how fucking manic and frenzied they're probably able to get because they're roided up to the gills. That's kind of dangerous because in a fight, what if you were to kill someone?
Yeah.
It kind of then makes the drugs element of it almost then premeditated murder in a way rather than just a byproduct of competing in a sport.
Definitely agree with that.
In football though, I'm sure it's a problem.
Like, no matter how many drugs I take, I'm never going to be as good as Messi. I want to see these people do things I could never do with all the training on earth. Give all of them to drugs, as long as it doesn't, affect their health.
But they're
give
already
all
on
of them.
fucking drugs.
Let's see some fucking. Let's see.
No.
They're all juiced.
What does it matter to you?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm sure there's probably stuff like that because I think there's moral issues and moral and social benefits that come from sport. And I know this is really boring, but having a clean sport and role models that you can believe in are really, really important.
But then it is clean.
So important. I did sport
if
development.
it's allowed.
I did sport development at university, and there are like boxing, the social benefits that you can learn from that, or sport in general, working in a team, or the discipline of boxing, or whatever it is, MMA or whatever. All those things, you're taking away a bit of that if it's not fair and real, and just generally fairness.
But you don't want to see someone score a hat trick from his own half.
Don't you want to see
That's better than what you said.
I'm sure you can
run
find
the 100
Well,
in
just
3
unleashing
seconds?
thunderbolts.
3 thunderbolts. I want to see that, James.
Yeah. I want him to go to Brentford and teach them all how to do it.
It's not a good lesson there for hard work.
Yeah.
I know it's so boring,
Sorry,
but it's
Dad.
actually very important.
No, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But should football? Okay, so I know that you're not allowed to do so recreational drugs are illegal, right? I know they're illegal, but if you but you don't necessarily just because you've done a drug get sent to prison or whatever for it.
No.
So should you, if assuming say I was a footballer and I got caught for doing weed and then I got a slap on my wrist by the law, should I then get a ban from my football team for doing it?
No, I don't agree.
No.
What do you say?
Yeah, I'd say no.
I'd say what a footballer does in his own time outside of and it doesn't affect his performance. There's nothing to do with a football club.
I would say that it probably does. It probably affects the brand of that club, and you're an employee of the brand of that club, and so.
And it's like if you're a
So
footballer,
then it's up to them, isn't it?
Yeah, and as a footballer, the most concerning aspect of it, I probably guess, would be is like, why are you fucking doing that rather than getting a good night's sleep because you?
Yeah, but because getting stoned feels good.
Does
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Chris Armstrong is a brilliant example. I loved him so much.
He had a great era.
He had the Chris Armstrong
period.
did for the end of Palace and his first 2 seasons at Tottenham. He replaced. I don't know if people know this. He replaced Jurgen Klinsmann at Tottenham, and him and Teddy Sheringham scored more goals together than Jurgen Klinsmann and Teddy Sheringham. Yeah, in the first season they scored 47. I think Klinsmann.
Probably off his tits.
Well, I don't think he was off his tits. I just think he comes from a culture. He now developed a kind of interested in Rastafari culture. So I think he's always interested in that. He's from the West Indies. So and I was given his number. I was given his phone number. I've still got it on my phone. And I sent him a message. And I was like, Chris, I'm really sorry to bother you, but
can I get some weed off you?
I was
Got a number.
I was like, please, can I sit down with you? Can I chat to you? Can I do a podcast with you? I'd love it. I mean, that would be one of my. I've got a couple of like star interviews that I'd love to do, and he's one of them. And he was really. I got a message back. And I was like, yeah, it's on. And he was just like really polite and said, I'm really sorry, but I'm not really interested in talking to the press at this time. And I was like, I'm not press. I didn't want to push it, but and I don't think. I actually think, to some degree, he was above it all. He was above the bollocks of football, and realised that this is a job for me, and my recreational activities is what, and he still scored more than Jurgen Klinsmann. So I don't know.
So on a Championship podcast, we end up talking about fucking Tottenham. That's what we end on.
Yes, that is what we end on, because we haven't even talked about the what it feels like to be a Championship club and looked down upon by all the Premier League clubs.
I'd hate to be a fan of a big club. It's not fulfilling.
It is
I've said it before. I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I'd like to be a bigger club.
All right.
He wants Millwall's firm. He wants Man United's fucking trophy
We're
cabinet.
growing, we're getting bigger.
I love
So
it.
good.
I absolutely love it. All right, that has been the Fighting Cock.
Oh.
That has been the Long
Just
Ball
for the
Street
name of his own.
podcast. I'm sorry.
Jesus
That's like
Christ.
ingrained in my
Slab.
brain. I'm sorry. That has been the Long Ball Street podcast. Matt, thank you once again.
Yep.
You've still got Matt
Emotional.
World. If you're interested in football
Yeah.
and business, go over to Matt World's
We've had-
YouTube channel.
We've had over 100,000. That's not true.
Yeah.
We had over 100 people that have joined up for that, and we're going to be doing some content soon. So that's pretty cool
That's
as well.
amazing.
I
Yeah.
like these people that are interested in the business of football rather than just
Sport.
West Ham's Millwall's firm. Yeah, good stuff.
And James Alcott, if you don't know, I mean, everyone knows him from Ball Street stuff, but also you also have your own football podcast.
Doing it in 5 minutes time.
Are you?
I thought you'd stop that.
No, I've been very busy at
What's it
work.
called?
Huh?
Great Touch
Great
for
Touch for a Big Lad.
Yeah, it is a fantastic podcast. What did you say? You thought you
I
stopped it?
thought you'd stop
Was that one of the conditions of him starting at Ball Street?
I stopped doing work around it. Someone else is doing the work.
Right,
But I can sit and talk football.
And Adam, you haven't got anything yet, but who knows?
Have you got a girlfriend yet? Because
No, I haven't.
someone was quite keen on watching yours and Flav's show, which was
What was the name?
Birds and Stuff or something like that.
Birds and that, yeah.
Birds
Birds and that, yeah, mate.
Birds and Matt, yeah.
That would be so
I'm,
good.
I'm in a healthy and loving relationship. I can't have a podcast called Birds and That yet.
But
But you talk about his
I'd
birds.
love to be in that, but I can't be in that.
Yeah.
The
So
show
annoying.
could be you helping Adam. Fucking.
He doesn't need help. Look at his
I-
face.
I know, but
He's fine.
He does not need help. But I mean, if I'm ever single, and I hope to God I'm not, because I think she might be the one. But if I am in that situation, then I would 100% love to do a podcast called Birds and That. Yeah.
Yeah, and any females, single females watching this YouTube video, swipe right.
Wants
Yeah.
a piece of this?
yeah.
Swipe right.
White
On
Rhino.
Tinder.
The,
White
li-
Rhino.
the
white
little
rhino.
brother.
White Rhino.
I don't know where that comes from. Just imagine like a powerful
The
white.
white rhino.
Yeah, that's what he says.
The white rhino.
All right.
See you in the
podcast.
car post.
Podcast. Yeah.